Lieutenant Dan hanging out with you. I got some very special in-studio guests joining me, Jeff Bridges, Ryan Bingham, and T-Bone Burnett. How are you guys doing this afternoon?
Very well.
Well,
it's a great honor to have you here in the Lightning 100 studios. I don't think any of you guys have been over here before, so
no.
Never had the pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
Well, great. Well, I had the pleasure last night of seeing this terrific movie, Crazy Heart. Just a great premiere here in Nashville, and a great place to see it, especially at a movie theater, because the music sounded incredible inside of that theater. And I didn't see you guys in there. I guess you guys didn't get to put on a costume and hide in the crowd. And
we were rehearsing, actually.
You guys were rehearsing, right? Well, yeah, because you put on a show for us. Well, it was really well received, and I think people enjoyed the music, and they enjoyed the film and the great acting in it, and they were laughing. And that's such a fun experience to, I'm old and married, and so I don't get to see as many films as I'd like to, especially inside a movie theater. And there's just something special about sitting there and having all these people laughing together, just enjoying it together. So it's great to have you here in the studios. And we've got Ryan Bingham here, who's brought his guitar, and he's going to be performing a song for us. And we got a copy of the soundtrack, Crazy Heart, the original motion picture soundtrack, which is going to be coming out next week, and then you guys are going to have a deluxe version. But let's just start at the beginning here, and let's talk about Jeff. I believe that this started where you got a copy of this script a couple years ago and originally passed on it.
That's right. Yeah, it was a wonderful script, great story, all about musician's life, and I'm a musician myself, so any chance I get to make a movie about playing music, I'm really up for it. Unfortunately, there was no music attached to the script, so I took a pass on it, because if you didn't have the right music, no matter how good the script is, it's not going to be any good. The movie is not going to be any good. And then I ran into my old friend T-Bone about a year after I initially read it, and he said, "What about this script, Crazy Heart?" And I said, "Oh yeah, why are you talking about that? Are you interested in doing it?" He said, "Well, I'll do it if you do it." And I said, "Come on, let's go, man." And that's all I needed. I knew he would take care of the music.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Well, the music really is an important part of this film, and going into it, I'm not sure if everyone realizes that you can sing, And in fact, even when I was watching the film, you sounded so good, I wondered in my mind if it was computers helping you sound that good, because in this day and age, a lot of computers do help people sound good that don't deserve to sound good. And then last night out at the Country Music Hall of Fame, I got to see you without certainly no computers, and you sounded terrific.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
What a great backing band, too.
Oh, God.
Buddy Miller, Bill Frisell, Mark Rebo. Just some tremendous musicians. And I do want to mention they're actually playing a show tonight. You guys are going to miss it. You're hitting the airplane. They're going to be out at the Belcourt Theater tonight.
And catch that, you guys out, your listeners out there. That's going to be a good show.
But you mentioned you ran into T-Bone, and who's an old friend of mine. So tell me about your friendship. How far back does it go? Where did it begin?
Well, we go back, and really the beginning of this whole movie, Crazy Heart, started 30 years ago when we met on the set of Heaven's Gate. And Chris Christopherson was the star of that film, and he often, when he ever does a movie, he'll bring all his musician friends along with him. And we had a wild group, man. Ronnie Hawkins and Norton Buffalo and David Mansfield, T-Bone, and Stephen Bruton, who our film is dedicated to Stephen. And having those guys on board that movie, that meant that for 6 months we jammed every day. Usually I say we jammed after work every day, but that's not quite accurate. I think it was during work as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably as much during work as after work.
Yeah.
I bet it was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was great fun.
Great. Well, and a lot of fun for you guys to reunite and get to do Crazy Heart. Where did you guys record the music to this film?
When did we do it?
Well, where?
Where? We did it in Los Angeles, didn't we?
Was it Village, wasn't it?
Village Recorders in Los Angeles. I get confused because I hear so much, you know. But, yeah, this is the first one, I think, first film we did in Los Angeles. And, you know, it's a beautiful old room, beautiful old wooden room. It's kind I like, you know, simple old room.
Nice. Yeah, you do spend a lot of time here in Nashville, T-Bone. And what's the status on the follow-up to Raising Sand, the collaboration with?
I don't know. I'd love to do something. I don't know. I think it's going to be a while.
Really? You guys haven't started on it at all?
No, I don't. You know, I haven't heard from anybody for a year. So.
Okay. All right. Well, we're definitely, everyone's excited about finding out about that. Well, I know you mentioned that the film is dedicated to Stephen Bruton, and that's actually at the end of the film. It mentions that, and he was a dear friend of yours who passed away last year. But he had a big part in this film. Can you talk about his role in the movie?
Well, you know, he was the music guy, really. Even though I've done movies before and done music in movies before, I was one of the producers on this movie. So as a producer, I called my best shot at getting this music right, who was Stephen Bruton, you know, and I stepped back to let him really take charge of it, as, you know, I was there to back him up when he needed it, but, you know, I would say the tone of the music very much came out of Stephen. You know, the overall tone of this movie.
And as far as I was concerned, you know, one of the first bits of direction that Scott Cooper gave me, our director on Crazy Heart, was that if Bad Blake were a real fellow, he would be the fifth highwayman. And so that gave me a nice general direction. And we talked about several different guys that were kind of role models for my character, but the main guy was Stephen, and it was so wonderful knowing him as long as I have, and having him there for every step of the way. And both the director and myself, we told Stephen, I said, God, let us know whatever we're doing wrong, or if you have any ideas about what would look cool, in the thing, let us know. And he certainly did that all the time, and he's all over this movie.
One of the things you guys did right, and I wouldn't know this because I've never been a touring musician, but I talked to some people last night at the party, and they said that Bad Blake never missed a gig, no matter how he was feeling, how crazy a day he had, how much sleep he hadn't had, and how much he had to drink. He never missed a gig, and that was certainly evident in the movie. And so I know you guys, you just really did a good job in this film. As far as Stephen Bruton goes, he was also a sideman to Chris Christopherson, and his last record was dedicated to Stephen. And I got to talk to Chris, who's got a show coming up here later this month. He's going to be at Ryman Auditorium. I believe it's January 27th. We'll get to see him at Ryman Auditorium. We're very excited about that. And I asked him to share a story about Stephen Bruton, and he told me too. He said one time they almost caused an international incident in Russia where there was supposed to be a show, and for some reason it got canceled, and then they were hanging out in a bar area and started singing, and everyone started singing, and all of a sudden they started rioting, and so that was a memory that
wow.
he hasn't let go of. And he said another time they were camping, and there was a stream with a really strict current in it, and Stephen had somehow ended up in the stream, and all of a sudden he sees him in his hat going down the stream. And so he chases down and jumped in the river and ended up saving him. So those are pretty good stories. So I was wondering if you guys would maybe share.
Well, that was as I remember that story, it was Who Saved Whom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those, Chris jumped in to save Stephen, and then Stephen saved Chris. I think that's the way that went. But God, story, Stephen was probably my closest friend for 40, 50 years. So, I couldn't stop telling stories. Don't get me started. I'll tell you this, he knew more about music history, American music history, than anybody I know, and I learned more from him than anybody that I know as well.